compiler translates high-level programming language into machine code. The main feature of object-oriented programming concept is polymorphism. Constants are identifiers whose value does not change during program execution. I don't want to write same code again and again. So what I want to do, I want to repeat the execution. That is called looping. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my model question paper discussion session. I am Revati from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Dear student, in my today's session, I am going to deal with the computer science model question paper and which is prescribed by Karnataka PU board. If I consider first PUC model question paper, I'm going to have question paper pattern. That means the entire question paper is divided into 4 different parts. That is part A, part B, part C and part D. Under part A, I'm going to get 10 1-mark question. That means here I'm going to get 15 question. Out of 15, I want to attend only 10. So 1 into 10. And if I consider part B, once again, I'm going to get 10 question. Out of 10, I want to attend only 5. And each question carries 2 marks. That is 5 into 2. So dear student, if I consider part C, once again I am going to get 10 question. Out of 10, I want to attend only 5 and each question carries 3 marks. That is 5 into 3, it is 15. Now if I consider part D, I am going to get 14 question. Out of 14, I want to attend only 7 and each question carries 5 marks. That is 7 into 5, it is 35. So dear student, I am going to write this subject only for 70 marks. And you may ask me, all the subjects are for 100 marks. Then what if 30 marks? Because we are having 30 marks practical, that is practical paper, then 70 marks theory paper. So this is theory subject, that is theory paper. For that, I am going to get only 70 marks. And let me to explain the weightage of each chapter. So here I am going to have the blueprint. Now, if I consider computer science subject, I am going to have 70 chapter and each chapter have their own weightage. Now at the beginning I am going to have first chapter, that is overview of computer, and what is the weightage? It is 9 marks. And see the division of marks here. That means if I study this chapter, then I can able to answer 2 1-mark question, then 1 2-mark question and 1 5-mark question. So it is nothing but total 9 marks. Now, if I study second chapter properly, then I can able to answer 10 marks. That means if I study input, output and memory device, then I can able to attend 1 2-mark question, 1 3-mark question and 1 5-mark question. So total 10. And if I consider data representation, once again, what is the weightage? It is 9. That means 1 1-mark question, 1 3-mark question and 1 5-mark question. Now if I consider chapter 4, then the chapter name here is software concept. The marks allotted for this chapter is 6. So I can able to answer one 1-mark question, one 2-mark question, one 3-mark question. And if I study the chapter 5, then I can able to get 30 marks very easily. Now you may ask me, how can I score 30 marks? Because here the weightage is only 16. But I'm telling it is 30. How? Because if I study this chapter properly, then I can able to attend chapter 10. So if I consider chapter 10, that is control statement, what is the weightage of this chapter? It is 14. So if I study this chapter properly, then I can able to attend chapter 10 questions. By adding chapter 10 marks as well as chapter 5 marks, I can able to get 30. So if I study any one of the chapter properly, then I can able to attend both the chapters. Now, dear student, I will tell you which are the topic you need to study and you need to focus, because I insist all the student to study chapter 1 because weightage is 9, and I insist all the student to study chapter 2 because it carries 10 marks. Even I insist all the student to study chapter 3 because it is numerical. So it is nothing but the number system. And to score the marks under this chapter, it is very easy. So I request all the student to study chapter 3 as well as 4. 4 is fully theory. So what is software, type of software, job of the operating system, etc. These are the topics comes under software concept, and it is fully theory chapter, and to score 6 marks under this chapter is very easy. So I insist all the student to focus and study this chapter. Even I insist all the student to concentrate and study chapter 5, because if you study this chapter, then you can able to attend chapter 10. So these are the chapters you need to focus while studying. Moving further, I'm going to have the 6th chapter, that is object oriented concept. And what's the weightage of this chapter? Only 3 marks. If you study this chapter, then you can able to score only 3 marks. So here you can able to attend only one 1-mark question and one 2-mark question. Now if I consider 7th chapter, then chapter name here is Introduction to C++. And what is the weightage here? It is 14 marks. That means if I study this chapter, then I can able to attend one 1-mark question, one 3-mark question, and two 5-mark question. Then what's the total weightage? It is 14. And I insist all the student to study this chapter because it is very easy chapter. And if I consider chapter 8, what is the chapter name? It is data types. And if I consider the weightage, I can able to score only 2 marks. So here I'm going to get only one 2-mark question. And if I consider chapter 9, that is input and output operator, and see the weightage here, it is only 4 marks. So if I study this chapter, then I can able to score only 4 marks. That is one 1-mark question and one 3-mark question. And if I consider control statement, so dear student, please make a note here. If I study this chapter, then I can able to attend fifth chapter question, because the same concepts are going to repeat in both the chapter. So dear student, just remember one thing here, that if I study chapter 5, I'm going to get 16 marks. And along with that, I'm going to get the bonus, that is 14 marks. Total it is 30 marks. That means I want to study any one chapter properly. Then I can able to attend both the chapters. So it's better to study either chapter 5 or chapter 10. And very easily I can able to score 30 marks. Now see the weightage here, that is 14 marks. That means if I study control statement chapter properly, then I can able to score 14 marks. Now see the weightage, that is one 1 mark question, one 3 mark question, and two 5 mark question. So total it is 14. And if I consider chapter 11, that is nothing but arrays. And if I study this chapter, then I can able to score 10 marks. So dear student, please don't ignore this chapter, because it is very easy chapter and you can able to get 10 marks very easily. Now see the weightage here. See, if I study arrays properly, then I can able to attend two 1 mark question and one 3 mark question, along with that one 5 mark question. Now moving on to the 12th chapter. What is the chapter name? It is functions. And what's the weightage? It is only 2 marks. That means if I concentrate this chapter, then I can able to score only 2 marks. That means I'm going to get one 2 mark question. Moving further, if I consider 13th chapter, what is the chapter name? That is user defined function. And if I study this chapter, then I can able to score 8 marks. And I'm going to get one 1 mark question, one 2 mark question, along with that one 5 mark question. Moving further, I'm going to have the chapter 14, that is structure. And if I study this chapter, I can able to score only 3 marks. That means I'm going to get one 1 mark question and one 2 mark question. It is 3 marks. And if I study chapter 50, then the chapter name here is word processing. And what's the weightage? It is 5 marks. That means I'm going to get one 2 mark question and one 3 mark question. So it is 5 marks. And dear student, another very important chapter here, it is spreadsheet. If you study this chapter properly, then I can able to get 14 marks very easily. So see the marks division here. One 1 mark question, one 3 mark question, and two 5 mark question. That means here I can able to attend two 5 mark question. Then what's the weightage? It is 14 marks. Moving on to the last chapter, that is web designing. Now what is the weightage? It is 6 marks. That means I can able to expect one 5 mark question and one 1 mark question. So if I study all 17 chapters properly, then I'm going to get 15 options. In that 15 option, I want to write only 10. So I'm going to have 15 questions. Out of 15, I'm going to attend only 10. And if I consider 2 marks, once again see here, I'm going to have 10 option. So I'm going to get 10 question. Out of 10, I'm going to answer only 5. And if I consider mark, that is part C, here also I'm going to get 10 questions. Out of 10, I'm going to attend only 5. And if I consider part D, once again, I'm going to get 14 options. Out of 14, I'm going to write only 7. So, it's very easy to score out of marks because I'm going to have more options. In that, I'm going to write only particular number of questions. So, dear student, I repeat, which are the topics you need to concentrate more in this subject. So, I'm going to insist all the student to study first chapter, then second chapter, third chapter, fourth chapter, as well as fifth chapter. I insist all the students to study fifth chapter, because if you study this chapter, then you can able to attend 10th chapter questions. For that reason, please study this chapter properly so that you can able to score 30 marks directly. Then if I consider here, I can able to insist to study 7th chapter, that is 14 marks. And if I consider here, I can insist you to study 10th chapter as well as arrays, because these 3 chapters have high weightage or more weightage comparing to 6th chapter or 8th chapter or 12th chapter. Because if you study this chapter, then you can able to write only 1 mark question or 2 mark question. And if you want to score more, then please concentrate more on 2 mark questions, 3 mark questions, as well as 5 mark question. Moving further, if I study user defined function 8 marks, so I insist all the students to study 13th chapter. Then I insist all the students to study word processor along with that spreadsheet, along with that web designing. And I'm going to get this paper only for 70 marks, and it is very easy to get out in this subject. Moving further, I'm going to have the model question paper of the year 2022. Now, this is the 2022 model question paper, and which is prescribed by Karnataka PU board. As I discussed, this question paper includes 4 different parts or section, that is part A. So, part A 10 marks. That means answer any 10 questions. Each question carries 1 mark. That means, see here, total 15 questions. Out of 15, I want to answer only 10 questions. Then, if I consider part B, as I told, once again, 10 questions. Out of 10, I need to answer only 5. And each question carries 2 marks. So, this is your part B. And if I consider part C, once again, see, I'm going to get 10 questions. Out of 10, I want to answer only 5. And each question carries 3 marks. Now, if I consider part D, once again, 14 questions. Out of 14 questions, I want to answer only 7. And it's very easy to get out because in this time we are going to have more option. So it is very easy to get out marks. This is all about question paper pattern. So dear student, if I consider computer science model question paper 2022, at the beginning I'm going to have part A. Now, in my part A, I'm going to get 15 questions. Out of 15, I want to answer only 10 and each question carries 1 marks. Let's see what is the first question I'm going to have here. That is, who is called the father of computer? So very simple question. Who is the father of computer? That is none other than Charles Babbage. Then what's the second question I'm going to have here? That is, mention the components used in third generation of computers. Now I want to mention the component. So it is third generation. During third generation, it is integrated circuit. So what's the answer? It is integrated circuit. Then what's the third question? That is define LSB. So what is LSB? If the question is like expand LSB, then you want to expand. So it is least significant bit. So here it is defined LSB. That means I want to define what LSB is. So the rightmost bit 0 is the lower bit. If I consider any binary digit and the rightmost bit 0 is the lower bit and it is called least significant bit. For example, if I consider 110, then this is my LSB. So the rightmost bit 0 is the lower bit and it is called LSB. Now moving on to the fourth question, what is compiler? The general answer here is compiler translates high-level programming language into machine code. But the standard answer here is it is a computer program or it is a computer language translator. So what is compiler? It is a translator that checks the entire user written program. What is the job of the compiler? That is responsible for checking the entire user written program. And if error free, if there is no error, produces a complete program in machine language. And this is the definition for what is a compiler. Moving further, I'm going to have the fifth question, that is, what is debugging? So debugging is the process of fixing a bug. What is bug here? That is nothing but errors in the software. So what is debugging? It is the process of finding as well as fixing the errors or bugs in the software. Now, what is the sixth question I'm going to have here? That is, what is a polymorphism? Poly, that means what? Multiple. So, polymorphism is an object-oriented programming concept. The main feature of object-oriented programming concept is polymorphism. That refers to the ability of a variable, function or object to take on multiple form. That means objects or variables or functions can able to take multiple forms, itself called polymorphism. Now, if I consider my name and if I consider my qualification. Now, see here, if I consider my 10th marks card, in my 10th marks card, my name remains as it is. But what about subject? It varies and the result is also different. And if I consider second PUC, once again, my name remains as it is. But what about my subject? It is different. And if I consider my master degree, and my name remains as it is, and my subjects are going to vary. So here, objects or variables or functions are capable to take multiple form, itself called polymorphism. Then my seventh question here is, define a constant. So what is constant? It is fixed. So a constants are identifier. First, I want to write constants are identifier whose value does not change during program execution. So here, constants are identifier whose value does not change during program execution. And example here is, if I write int a equal to 10, then this is the example for constant. And moving further, if I consider eighth question, which operator is used with Cin in C++? Now, if I want to read the value from the keyboard, I'm going to use Cin. Now, along with this Cin, which operator I'm going to use? That is extraction operator. So, it is extraction operator. Moving further, if I consider ninth question, define looping. So what is looping? That is nothing but the repetition. There are certain situations I want to repeat same statement. So a loop is used to execute a group of instruction or set of statement or a block of code multiple times. So here repetition is nothing but multiple times without writing it repeatedly. So I don't want to write same code again and again. So what I want to do, I want to repeat the execution. That is called looping. Moving further, I'm going to have another question, that is, what is an array? Now, if I consider array, it is nothing but a homogeneous element. It is nothing but a collection of homogeneous element, and all the elements are grouped under same name. Now tell me, what is this homogeneous? That is nothing but same kind of item or same kind of element. So an array is a collection of similar data. So similar data is nothing but same kind of data elements stored at, how the elements are stored? Stored at continuously. So it is contiguous memory allocation, and all the elements are grouped under same name. For example, if I write int a of 5, so what is my array name? Array name is A, and it is capable to store 5 elements, and all the memories are allocated contiguously. So this is an array. Moving further, give the declaration syntax for single dimensional array. Now I want to write the syntax, not the example. So what is the syntax? So if I consider int a of 5, so what is this int? Int is nothing but the data type. So what is my first field? It is data type. Then what is my next field? That is array name. If I consider this example, A is my array name. And what is this 5? That is nothing but the size. That is nothing but the array size. Now the syntax here is data type, array name as well as array size. Moving further, if I consider 12th question, then what is a user-defined function? If user is going to define or write any function, then it is called user-defined function. Now, user-defined function is a function. That means user-defined functions all are example for functions, but that is defined by the user to solve his or her problem. Now, the 13th question here is, what is meant by array of structure? Now, we know what is structure. It is nothing but the user-defined data type. Now, what is array of structure? In my structure, I'm going to create the array of structure. So, an array of structure is simply an array. So, if I consider array of structure, that's example for array in which each element is a structure of the same type. That means whatever the element which is present in that array are the type of or structure of the same type. Now moving on to the 14th question. Name the popularly used spreadsheet application. That means which software we are going to use most commonly. That is Microsoft Excel. So I can able to consider Microsoft Excel 2007, 2013 or 2016. But what is the most popular spreadsheet application? That is nothing but Microsoft Excel. And the last question under part A is, what is web page? So what is this web page? A document which can be displayed in a web browser. So dear student, if I want to display any documents in a web browser, then it is called web page. So example for web browsers are Firefox, Google Chrome, Opera, Microsoft Internet Explorer, etc. Now, these are often called pages. That is nothing but the web page. So, what is web page? It is nothing but the collection of page or collection of document. To run this document or to open this document, I required web browser. And those kinds of pages or documents are called web pages. So, dear student, this is all about part A. I repeat, under part A, I'm going to get 15 questions. Out of 15, I want to answer any time, and each question carries 1 marks. So dear student, in my today's session, you got information about chapter blueprint, that is complete subject blueprint, as well as question paper pattern, as well as model question paper, along with the solution of part A question paper. I hope in today's class you got complete information about part A. That means how the questions are appears under part A. Now in my next session I'm going to deal with part B. So don't forget to watch my next session to understand what is part B and how to solve or how to attend part B questions. Thank you for watching my session. Let's meet in the next session with some more information about part B question paper discussion. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.